Estás viendo Canal América, televisión dominicana para el mundo.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard. You don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart. Yeah. You try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got, but the world takes you down. You just keep moving on. Let your fears.
Welcome for a Time for Truth show. And there in the background, you see the fireworks for our July 4th holiday. A wonderful holiday. Independence and freedom. And I love the fireworks colors and the sounds up in the sky. And we welcome you back. Many of you have been asking how you get the previous episodes, and all you have to do is very simply go on YouTube, A Time for Truth show, and click subscribe, and you will be availed of all the different episodes that we've had. And tonight, in honor of Independence Day and freedom and our country always moving forward to give opportunity, we're very honored to have a very special guest tonight, Coach Charlie Hatcher. And Buddha, if you put his pictures up on the screen, I want to introduce all his really great work. And there you see him. He's executive producer of Sports Inside and Out LLC. And Coach Hatcher's career began in 1965 at Norwell High School in Norfolk, Virginia, where he was instrumental in pioneering the integration of high schools through basketball. He became the first African American high school basketball player to be named to the All-City, All-District, and All-State teams. Coach Hatcher was voted All-American, honorable mention, and was the first African American to be voted the most outstanding basketball player in the city of Norfolk, Virginia. He enlisted in the U.S. Navy, where he played basketball and was named All-Navy and All-Inter-Service. These honors led him to being invited to the Olympic trials and subsequently playing in Europe. After the Olympic trials in '68, he accepted a basketball scholarship to Elizabeth State University. And upon graduating Elizabeth State, he was a free agent draftee in the American Basketball Association. He went on to coaching the pro athletes in action tours, the National Basketball Association Summer Tour, and the pro team tours that played in Israel. In 2003, Coach Hatcher started Sports Inside and Out, Legends of Sports, at Richmond's WBTK 1380 AM, and there you see the logo on our screen. His show features some of the greatest sports legends and celebrities who, along with Coach Hatcher, talk about today's sports world. And he pays tribute to the men and women of the military for the fine service that they gave protecting this country. He does live remote broadcasts from major sporting events such as the Super Bowl, the NBA All-Star Weekend, and the NCAA Final Four. He's extremely proud of his sons who enjoy rewarding sports and business careers, Carl and Charles Hatcher, and his stepsons, Dominique Wilkins a 9-time NBA All-Star and 3-time NBA leading scorer, and the 7th all-time leading scorer and NBA Hall of Famer. And his other, Gerald Wilkins, New York Knicks and Orlando Magic player, also a great guard. Coach Hatcher's motto is when legends talk, people listen. And Buddha, if you bring him up live on the screen, I want to bid a warm welcome to Coach Hatcher to a Time for Truth show. Welcome, Coach Hatcher.
All right, welcome, Doc. Thank you so much for having me, Doc. It's very, very happy to be a part of your content broadcast in New York, one of my favorite cities, and so many of my dear friends and guys I played with and work with almost every day are right there in New York because we have a great lineage from New York. We kind of the old Rucker tournaments we used to be or constantly are involved with in New York. As you know, the greatest, I guess, genesis of professional basketball athletes in the world out of New York with the Rucker tournament, with the likes of all of the guys from Julius to Wilt, I mean, all the guys, Tiny, all my dear friends, co-host Wally Jones from the Sixers. We spent a lot of time in New York and broke the link that's causing nowadays. If you never got a chance to at least be a part of the Rucker and the Baker League in New York, you never really arrived in the sports world in basketball. So New York has a tremendous legacy on from the Globetrotters, our dear friends for the Globetrotters with Bobby and all the cats, and Bobby Zorro, Hunter, I should say. I'm just happy to be here, man, and tell a little genesis of how we got started, like you so elegantly put it, real forefront of what we're trying to appropriate, but it's much more. And we got a lot to do, Doc, and I just thank you for us giving me a chance, I should say, to have a little bit of what you call sizzle of what we do and be a part of your mission statement of bringing truth and the abilities to do other things for the Black and Hispanic ethnic markets here in the United States. And it's so much part of the 4th of July, truly a celebratory for the independence, but we still have a long way to go to really kind of live up to that particular theme.
Absolutely, Coach Hatcher. You know, it's our pleasure to have you on the show because of all you've done. You're a very respected figure among some tremendous names in pro sports. And, you know, our mutual friend, Harlem Globetrotter Bobby Hunter, has mentioned... He's always talking about you, and you know, I've been looking forward to having you on the show. So, but let's get right to it. First thing I wanted to ask you, because you're right, there's a lot of change that's happened, but there's a lot more that's going to need to happen. So, how was it growing up in Virginia back in the '60s?
Well, you know, Virginia, capital of the South, the first African Americans, or I would say Africans, that ever hit the continent came in Jamestown in 1696. So, you know, it is a cradle of slavery and of the South. So coming up, of course, it was really rough. Coming up in Norfolk and the surrounding Tidewater area, you know, big military bases and complexes here, the largest in the world. It was rough. You know, it was complete segregation, as you could imagine. And it was during the civil rights era, and I was coming out, and my brother and all the great ball players were playing in all Black schools, high schools, and of course they were powerhouses in Norfolk, with Booker T. Washington, Norfolk, and all the schools around. And a lot of the guys, the Black ball players at that time, excelled in HBCU schools, and a lot went to the professional ranks. So I was coming up in a legacy of both football and basketball, and I went into basketball, of course, and coming out. It was during the height of the integration movement. had no intentions of going to a white high school. And then a friend of mine, Andy Heidelberg, a great football player, God bless his soul, he's gone home to be with the Lord now. And me and Idle, and we were contacted by a civil rights attorney in the Tidewater area. His name was Austin, Doc Austin. He was a civil rights attorney, worked very closely with Marshall, with Judge Marshall. And we had a call from Martin Luther King and Dr. Lowry first, and then Martin Luther King, and said that you two guys have been selected to do something that's monumental in the country right now during this era. And because of, we always try to my parents came up, you got to make some grades, man. I mean, if you can't go to school and graduate and do something, then you ain't going nowhere. So, of course, we tried to do it. Heidelberg went the first semester, and I came in the second semester of our, I think it was sophomore years, and man, it was rough. The epitome of the Ku Klux Klan, and the guys were out there, man. And, we had to get the state police to take us to school. It was 17 plus in that time, and to take us to school, to take us to classes, to take us to the bathroom, to take us to eat, to take us. We had no recess. We had to stay there, pretty much together in that era, and then of course take us to the buses and get us home. This went on every day for a good little while. I can't say, but the black tar babies in the effigy on the flagpole took the American flag down and threw baby black tar babies up there hanging. It was it was it was rough. And then they found out that we were going to play sports, and man, you can imagine that these are pretty big high schools, the biggest in the area region out of four, and of course, we had threats and all the signs, go home, nigga, and all these things. And we persevered. And, it was tedious. Young guys like Heidelberg, but Heidelberg played in his first season. He broke the ice as I was getting ready to play. And he showed them what playing football and speed and agility and class was all about. The first time he touched the ball, he ran a 104-yard touchdown on the kickoff, and then he just blossomed in. And then you could see a little crack in the thing because it was sports. And then that's how we really realized what Reverend Lowry and even Dr. Abernathy, they took a lot of interest in it, on the road. And then we saw what they were talking about, because sports was the way to crack segregation at the root, because sports was the cornerstone, really, of the communities of America. Baseball, of course, the great baseball, but then basketball and football were the things of the big inner cities. So then I came in and played, and then I successfully, right off the bat, it was pretty good. First game I was in, I didn't play but about 2 quarters to hit 21. But these guys could play, but they didn't want no out there. They had situations, Doc, that they even tried to make me dress on the road, try to dress in the kitchen, and said, no nigga is going to ever get in our locker room. So, but the cooks used to stay over. And then the state police and my basketball teammates, stood behind me. These guys knew what was happening. They saw the future. And not doctor, but Jim Brown, the coach, brilliant man, saw the validity in bringing racial balance and what it could be in the future. God bless his soul. And that's where it came in. And after that first year, I mean, it broke wide open. The national press and everybody was zeroed in on it. And oddly enough, I didn't play but a year and a half. And I was able to do what I did in a year and a half of high school and broke the records, and left it just I was the first All-American in a predominantly white high school, the most valuable player in the city of Norfolk of all sports, and got the chance to make All-American Second team Pepsi All-American, All-American Smith, with Smith and Jones, and I led the state in scoring. So I did pretty well, and I really realized what the impact that I made in Heidelberg as well, because once he went to Norfolk State, he went to the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it was something to behold. Dr. Richard Lapchick, his father, Red Lapchick of the New York Knicks. Richard was my mentor, and he's, of course, one of the Hall of Famers, greatest 100 sports figures in the world, in the Hall of Fame now. He was my a good mentor. He got me into school, and I got the importance of degree and what it was going to be, political science. I went in, and yeah, Facebook, and then I would, of course, going to be a Dahmer. I had to go into service, and I only, I got into a very comfortable position with the admiral at the North Atlantic Fleet Organization, and the Navy had a national team. It was big time stuff for the military. The Navy played the Army and Marine Corps and the Air Force. It was a big thing playing all around the world at major bases, and I got a chance to go with Mike Bird, a dear friend of mine. But I got elected to the Olympic trials in '68, along with JoJo White, Charlie Scott, and Spencer Haywood, who and all the cats, man. And at that time you had you had to have two military people on the Olympic team. That was the old days. And then I was almost there with Mike, and then we had a guy, Dr. Sullivan, Lieutenant Sullivan made it. And we in the last round, Mike Bird made it out. Of course, Mike had a great career as well. And then I just blossomed on there. Got drafted as a free agent with the Pacers, and got with Bob Leonard, the coach, and his wife, Ms. Leonard. There, she was general manager. I got a chance to get out there, and Donnell Hillman was in camp with me, and Donnell, and who else? Bugs, Bussy out of Evansville. We had a good rookie team coming in there. Dave Nays from the Trotters, from Creighton, and then it just blossomed out. I was able to play overseas, and after I left the Pacers, I had an injury. Of course, my career then was the European League, so I played and coached over there for many years. Played with some great guys, Tony McGee and Oscar Smith, one of the great scorers in the world, and had a pretty good career, and came back in, of course. And after then, my stepson Dominic was coming out of Georgia, and he just took off. We got him with the Magic Johnson too. We have with him, Magic, Reggie Theus, who else? Reggie, and Michael didn't play. Ralph Sampson, Dean Miminger, Mark Aguirre. We had Otis Gilmore. We had a tremendous, team. Moses Malone, but we coached them, and along with Ray Scott, who went on to be the first African American to play to be the coach of the year in the NBA with the Detroit Pistons. And so, I mean, God has been very good to me, Doc. And my family with Maxilla now here, and a lovely team of people on staff, and all my dear friends. As you know, I had an accident a few years ago, lost my sight and whatnot. But all my friends, the what you call the fraternity that we formed in professional, that the old vanguard. Sam Jones, my dear friend, God bless, he just passed, and all the cats, and George, Iceman, and Doc, and Charlie Scott, of course, Bobby Zorro, and we got a big, a lot of guys, Earl Monroe. Well, all of us got together to really permeate something that was going to be constructive for the future. That's what we realized, that the game of professional sports was going a different way. It's become more of a business and entertainment than it is a good sports thing for men make a living playing a child's game. So that's basically that in a nutshell. I was very proud to be an All-American in '66, and I did make that. I was the alternate for the Ed Sullivan Show. Kareem, it was Lou Alcindor then, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Rick Mountain, all the guys. they made the first lineup, but at least I was there to get the burgundy blue, and they get recognized behind. So that I stumbled or got sick, I would have been right on stage. But it would have been a great opportunity for a young man to get a brand there, and that's what it's all about, maintaining an
Well,
integrity of the brand that you are. Yeah.
you know what? Coach Hatcher, that's quite a story, and it's quite amazing. And, I wanted to ask you, because I see that you take all that you've done and you utilize it to help others. And I ask you a question, because I've seen that you've brought sports figures and celebrities to honor and to pay tribute to the men of the armed forces, the men and women of the armed forces. So
Right.
what led you to start that activity?
Well, of course, I was in the service. I saw the impact, and all my dear friends, a lot of my old friends in the NBA, Sam Jones was in the Army. People don't even realize Sam, before he went to the Celtics, he came out of University of North Carolina Central, a historical black college, was in the Army. JoJo White was in the Marine Corps. After he left the Olympics, he came in. Of course, this was during the Vietnam era, and nobody wanted to get out in the swamp and get shot. So we said, listen, we're going to play and play well for our country. JoJo and Hambone Red and Garfield Smith for the great Celtics. Donnell Hillman was in the Army. And he played in the Army. We were in the service in Long Island. And it's so many great, Lenny Wilkins. A lot of guys served our country. So we were proud to go all over the country and all over the world with the goodwill tours to play basketball and represent the United States and Czechoslovakia and Russia and things, man. And then we saw how the legends that had military experience and our soldiers coming back from Vietnam and things of that nature were being treated and not appreciated. These guys gave the ultimate thing. Some of these, we still support the VA. My wife is a retiring VA clinician, master's degree in clinical psychology, and it's something that was always part of us. Even our dear friends, James Bone Question Smith, former heavyweight champion of the world, is a member by cadre veteran. Ray Mercer, former heavyweight champion, veteran. A lot of the guys, in football, so many football players, and so we have a great relationship with our group. Doc is apprised of all the greats. And we got 360 on our road at Excecutive, and all of them are former All Pros, Hall of Famers, and Impact legends. And we're so proud of that thing that we've done, the things that we've done to collaborate. The NFL Foundation with the late Nick Nicolosi, God bless his soul. The National Basketball Retired Players Association. We represent and speak for the veterans of all our chapters around the country. We try to be very much of a vanguard for these guys to tell their stories to these young ball players and the kids coming up today, how it was to work hard, be appreciative, work together, trust each other, be upright, create a brand for yourself, and hang around those of like mind. That is really the key to success for a young man coming up, Doc. I'm going to tell you point blank, we'll talk about it a little later, but Wally Jones was voted one of the top 50 clinicians in NBA history. And he is a guru when it comes to clinicians. Also, Sam Stiff, a New York Knick, former All-American, and one of the greats at St. Bonnie, and his brother Tom, and along with the guy he brought up called Bob Lanier and Freddie Crawford. These guys are all over the country, and we have a great situation there that we're ready to be used in any shape or form to adapt our clinician activities to whatever community and cause is out there, because we know what a veteran and a legend in the sports world can do, and how he can collaborate with everything, whether it's in the corner streets or in or in a a hotel historian. So we know our transitional and our marginable impact with it, and that's what my job is with Sports Insider now with Molly Jones, of course. God bless his soul, with late Sam Jones, and we got all these guys. A.B. Whitfield, we'll talk who I'm quite sure you know, a tremendous friend and clinician. O.J. Anderson, former most valuable player there at the New York Giants. These guys are doing great things in New York, and we here. Earl Monroe has a new school. Tiny Archibald is doing a great job. Big Tom Hoover with our chapters there. We can do a great thing for us. So therefore, that's
You
our
know,
mission
you,
statement.
you know, Coach Hatcher, you are an amazing guy, and you know I see how much people love you because you have so many people who look up to you, follow you. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. We're running out of time for this show,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
but I want to ask you something real
yeah,
quickly.
yeah.
I know you're a very humble guy, but what would you like to be most remembered for?
Making a difference in in the kids' lives. You know, we got to be able to look back and pass it back to the next generation as well as go forward. I just want to be remembered of bringing all our great guys that I've met in these 50 years in sports and bring it and make them recognized for the contributions and the blood, sweat, and tears that they've gone through to go through in a career as we did to be there, where these young men must realize they need to pay homage to those guys that made them be able to spend more at lunch than we did in a year's salary. So we're very happy. That's my dedication. And also helping guys like you, God. Oh man, come on out of here. It's not too much you can ask us that me and Bobby won't do to come up and make a impact in any type of initiative, even with Max. We got the women too now. We got monstrous WNBA legends on our cadre staff that are ready to help the young girls now because they finally got big girls to look up to now. So
Well,
that's what
you know what? Unfortunately, I wish we could continue talking because I'm enjoying it, but we've run out of time for this show. But you know what? For sure, I'm going to take you up on your offer,
yeah,
and we'll see how we can coordinate some drug-free world education activity with the
right.
sports, with the young people. And I know I'm going to have you back because there's a lot we didn't even get a chance to cover, but thank you for being on the show for tonight.
Well, listen, let me say one thing. Go to sportsinsidernow.com. Sportsinsidernow.com. Legends of Sports, Black Legends of Sports as well. You'll see all of our shows, podcasts, and our TV shows with Tim Reed, the great actor, on Tiki Live. We're streaming on that, Channel 31. And you'll see. And we're going to also have you, Doc, a part of our content evaluation with some of our great doctors.
I would love to be on there with you. You let me know when, and we'll have you
All right.
back again, maybe with some of your buddies. And for tonight, unfortunately, we have to end off. But as Coach Hatcher said, appreciate what you've got. Recognize the people who made it possible for you, and let's make this country even better and celebrate this Independence Day by moving even further forward with more advances, more opportunity, like Coach Hatcher said. Thank you for tuning in, and have a very happy July 4th weekend.
Sometimes life can be so damn hard. You don't know where to go. Everything keeps falling apart. Yeah. You try to do your best, but only God knows that you've given everything you've got. But the world takes you down. You just keep moving on. Let your feet